Welcome to Adaptation, the book to movie podcast. I'm Nate.
And I'm Chris. And today there's I was going to say familiar face, familiar only to us face. We've got our good buddy, Brett. Brett, say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
Hi, people. Brett is an old friend of Chris's, right? You guys go back how far?
Oh, gosh.
Believe it or not, we played basketball together when we were in elementary school, and that's where Chris
Whoa.
originally thought that I was kind of a weirdo.
So weird. So
I've
weird.
grown a lot since then.
And you guys have stayed friends since then.
Yeah.
Since then.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
basketball
both
skills have stagnated.
That's all right. There's more important things in all three of our lives than whether or not we can play basketball, I suppose. Including, you're a pretty voracious reader, right, Brett?
Yeah. I read. I try to read as much as I can. Obviously, have a young kid at home kind of slows that down a little bit, but kind of switch to audio for a lot of things. And I try to keep one audio book and one physical book going. But I'm in a book club with Chris, and he knows that either I will devour a book in a couple days or it will take me months. And it
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way. There's no in between.
No. And we have like such vastly different tastes in books too. It's pretty wild. I don't know how we're friends, to be honest.
I've wondered that many times.
I see you sawing through them on Goodreads all the time. Every time I get onto Goodreads, it's something new from Brett Shand.
I try to stay on the horn.
Yeah. Well, today we are going to be talking about Minority Report, written by Philip Dick and adapted by Steven Spielberg. Back in the news because of Disclosure Day is in theaters right now. But before we dive into that conversation, Chris, what kind of stuff have you been reading?
Yeah, I hope this is not a repeat. I don't think I had finished it when we discussed Push. Did I tell you about Crimson Fall? Does that sound familiar?
Is that one of the... Is it really old? I think you've told me about it separately.
No, really, really new.
Oh, it's okay. No,
by an author named M.A. Glaude, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Glaude. Glaude.
As close as I'd get.
He is a very famous and popular YouTuber that I love watching, and then he just like popped out this novel. This is his debut novel.
Oh.
So no idea what it was about, just wanted to support his channel and him as a creator, so I bought it. I don't know how many folks I would recommend it to, but it was a fun read. It's like a vampire thriller set in the 1920s in Chicago, so very much not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
What kind of YouTube stuff does this guy make?
He plays all of the games that I play, so that's why I follow him so particular. Yeah. He makes Let's Plays for Civilization and Stellaris and like Victoria 3 and all of these games. Yeah, I know. Nothing.
League of Legends?
No, he does not play League. He plays the games that are like nerdy, even to video game nerds. So, yeah, that's fine.
That's you, Chris. Brett, what have you been reading, and have you seen any movies lately?
I've been reading Lonesome Dove. I feel like it just kind of blew up on my Instagram algorithm, and I was like, I just got to read it. And so far, it's like I'm 200 pages in, and not really a spoiler, but they haven't left the ranch yet. You know, they're just kind of talking around, standing around talking. But I'm like just enraptured. You know, there's some books where it's just the writing that just sucks you in. It's not what's happening, it's the characters and the writing, and that's this book. It's really good.
Cool.
And then,
which, for context, for anyone that's not familiar, 200 pages is about 20% of that book. I think it weighs in just north of 900.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a big book. But I'm a teacher, so like I got summers off, and so what else is there to do besides that and chip away at my garden? And then what am I listening to? I'm listening to a book about fatherhood and how being a dad changes your brain and your body and your hormones and stuff. So that's been
Wow.
pretty interesting.
Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big stuff. Are you learning things? Are you like identifying with it?
It's kind of validating. There's a lot of things that are going on in the book that I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Like irritability or like just gaining weight or not having energy. Like all of those things that you kind of feel down on yourself about. It's like
Yeah.
that's a real thing that many dads deal with and yeah, so it's a good one. That one's called Dad Brain by Darby Saxby. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That
Mhm.
sounds
Good
good. I
for you,
like
bud.
those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the most recent movie I watched was Project Hail Mary. Wonderful movie.
Oh,
Honestly,
great movie.
one of the better sci-fi movies I've ever seen. It was incredible.
Yeah, I
So good.
agree.
And the
Bla-
book is amazing too.
So good.
Blair and
Yeah.
I like to laugh because Rocky reminds us of Chris so much.
Yeah. Okay, I can
That,
see that.
yeah.
When
It's
he's
like
like, I didn't know that was a joke. That's 100% our boy Chris.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fist my bump.
Jazz
Yeah, that
hands.
Jazz Hands, yeah. That is a good one. I feel like I need to rewatch that one. I think I watched it two or maybe even three times in theaters, but that's been a couple
Oh
of
my
months
god,
now.
it's so good.
So good.
But like I said, today we're here to talk about Philip K. Dick's Minority Report. So, Chris, why don't you give us a rundown of the book? And Brett, as you see fit, feel free to jump in and sprinkle a little Brett knowledge on us.
Yeah, well, we have Brett for this one in particular. As Brett alluded to, it's so fascinating. A central tenet of our friendship, I'm going to say, is how different we are as individuals. Is that fair, Butsky?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair for sure.
And it's so fascinating because we've been in this book club together. We did the math, and I mean, we've got to be pushing 100 books at this point. It's been 6 or 7
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, we've
Wow.
been plugging away, and we're going at a pretty slow clip until Chris went teacher mode on us, and he's like, "Hey, we got to have due dates on these. Like, we need to pick it up a bit."
That's Chris. That's Chris for you.
Well, there we have this fascinating butting of heads where we have very different books that we consistently like. The term in book reading as a hobby is often your wheelhouse, right? But if I need a recommendation, Brett's one of the first people I go to. And so this was a really fun one to get him on, a big Philip K. Dick fan. And this is an era of books that we have disagreed on in the past. And so that's why that's kind of a little origin story for this one.
Cool.
Because if Brett tells you any of his opinions on Ursula Le Guin, he is flat wrong. So,
Whoa. You're not an Ursula fan? I don't even know the lady. I just know her
No.
from how big a fan Chris is. So I know that that's sacred ground you're treading on there, Brett.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
on the same era.
Don't ask me about Tolkien either.
Oh,
Okay, I wasn't even going to bring that up. Nope. Okay.
whoa.
The Minority Report by Philip K. Dick. Let me give you a little bit of context on our boy. First and foremost, this was published in 1956.
Wow.
It is actually technically a novelette, not even a novella, weighs in at a flimsy 112 pages.
Oh, pamphlet.
But let me, since you're both here, anybody want to take your stabs at this is one of 5 huge titles of his that have been adapted, 4 as movies, 1 as an Amazon series.
How many
Oh,
adaptations there are?
No, there are 5 primary ones of his. This is one of those 5.
are they
So I'm
all
looking for
like,
his other 4.
are they all kind of similar to this, or is the point that it's
This is really no, this is his vibe. This is his whole thing. Yeah.
okay? Is it something like iRobot or like,
That's Asimov.
Yep.
Paycheck.
wow,
Nope. One of them you've told me to read 1,000 times.
mhm.
And Nate, you are going to kick yourself about one of them. Early 80s, massive sci-fi movie.
Oh, do androids dream? Do androids dream of electric sheep?
Oh yeah, what's that movie
Blade
called?
Runner.
Yep,
Oh, duh,
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm. Total Recall is
Total
his.
Recall. Holy
Oh,
cow!
cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool movie.
The one Brett suggested 75 times to me, Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly. That one's weird.
And then Amazon series The Man in the High Castle is also an adaptation of Philip K. Dick.
Oh yeah, and you like that show, don't you,
Ooh,
Chris?
good show.
Massive. I have not watched it yet. I want to read
Oh,
all of them I have not seen because I want to read the books first.
oh, maybe somebody else. I forget who. Then maybe if they're listening, one of my friends has recommended it. If that was you, send me a text.
But I mean, just a ridiculous career. Because again, for this era, we often think of Asimov, as Brett already said, or Ursula Le Guin. But I don't want to go super into this because I think we've got some interesting stuff to chew on for the book itself. But his bibliography includes 45 novels,
Jeez.
121 short stories, made up into 14 different short story collections.
Okay.
Just absolutely prolific
An
author, of which
animal.
this is part of one of them. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, that's absolutely insane. But he's got some themes that I think are going to come out a lot that I want to bring up on the front end because I'm not sure where the discussion will go. So once again, just like I said with T.S. Eliot, I think the broader discussion of Philip K. Dick as an individual will have to come later because I
Okay.
think there are some interesting contrasts between the book and the movie for us to pull apart.
I have heard that
But
there's some pretty big differences. Yeah.
yeah. I want to. So these are the themes that have really come up a lot in all of his books. So I want to bring that up, and then we narrow it into this one. Sound good,
Okay.
fellas?
Yep. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So his the three main things that really come up a lot. One, obviously, what is real? Which is a massive question that he, for
Yeah.
some reason, loves to play with. Could never be more timely, even though this book is now pushing actually exactly 70 years old. Artificial intelligence and identity, huge in this book. And
Hmm.
same with his third big theme, surveillance and control. Okay.
Okay.
So lightning speed, again, Brett, jump in if I'm skipping something important. But the book is a much more narrow cast.
Yeah.
The Anderton. God, what is his first? I always remember Allison because that's his middle name, which I just think is crazy. John
I was going to say,
Anderton.
isn't it just John? Yeah.
Yeah, John Allison Anderton. No explanation given
Strange.
for that middle name. Pretty pretty much on par with oh my gosh, Scientology boy's character. What is
Tom
his name?
Cruise,
Yep, Tom Cruise.
Scientology boy.
the biggest movie star to ever live.
I was like, I should not be forgetting his name.
Yeah.
I would say Anderton is pretty true to the character from the movie.
Okay.
Have you, Brett? You've seen the movie as well, right?
You know, believe it or not, that was one of the very first DVDs that we owned as kids, and that was probably the last time that I watched it.
Oh, a long
Goodness
time ago.
gracious!
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a
Oh
long
my
time.
gosh!
Yeah,
This is like I probably watch Minority Report every other year, if not every year.
It comes up
yeah.
in every other podcast episode we do.
Does it
I
really?
love
Well,
I love this movie.
I feel like the movie and TV show adaptations of the short stories are thematically very on point and usually pretty true to it, but there are some like major differences in them typically. Sorry, was
I
that
Yes.
think I've
you getting to that?
No, that's exactly yes. No.
Yeah,
That's
and sometimes it makes more like the movies and TV shows make more sense than what you're reading. You're like, oh, that is what that means.
yeah,
I agree.
Or that's a cool interpretation of it, that kind of thing.
Is it? But Nate, you have not read it, correct?
correct. Yeah, but I've obviously seen the movie.
Yes. Well, I would hope everyone has at this point. I was going to ask about
I
spoilers.
know.
I mean, both of these have been out for so long. We're not worried about spoilers, right?
No, I think especially because they're pretty different. I looked up a list of differences, and Spielberg even has some quotes about the differences, and it seems like two different dishes with the same ingredients, kind of.
Yeah, that's a great yes. And it's curious to me in this case yeah. Okay. Super fast. The TLDR of the book plot. So, Anderton, head of the precog division or the no, that's not the name of it. Pre-crime.
Pre-crime, yeah.
Pre-crime
Crime. I
division.
love that
And they
concept.
use it's so good. It's so good.
I
And
think about it
oh my
every
gosh.
day.
Uh
On the giving or the receiving end, because that's a little scary.
Sometimes you don't even know, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the point, I guess.
I ask myself every day, will I commit a crime?
Did we just get a spit take on the pod?
Is this my day?
Such a wild statement, Brett.
Well, the thing is, like in this world, you can't say that. You can't say because just like thinking it and saying it is a pre-crime.
Right. But
Right.
Chris, do you
You
want to
know?
explain the TLDR
Sorry.
before we get too deep into
Yes.
Yeah.
mechanics? Sure.
So again, I'm going to try to stay. I've seen our book club read it 5 months ago. And then I reread it this week just to be prepared for this. So I've only read it twice. So I want to make sure that I'm just giving book plot because I've seen the movie way more times. So he's the head of pre-crime, and they get these. They're like little note cards. I mean, even for sci-fi, it was still written 70 years ago. So honestly, the visual representations of some of the technology are way cooler in the movie.
Yeah, totally.
But in the book, it's like a little index card that pops out. And so the premise is they've got these three individuals who have this gift of foresight, essentially. Very graphic and what we would consider now not PC description in the book. R word is thrown around often.
What the? Okay.
Or they are called the idiots. Yeah, that part's a little unfortunate. Which thankfully
the people that can tell the future?
Yeah, the
Oh,
precogs.
wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the movie did a great job of adjusting
I
that
would have had
aspect.
no idea. Yeah, that there is no sniff of that whatsoever.
Yeah, there is a super graphic description of their oversized heads and withered, wasted away bodies. Yeah,
Gross.
that part's a bit
Okay.
rough in the book. But again,
guess.
I mean, it's so short, it goes so rapid fire. So the book, the very first, you are like a page and a half in, very first scene, he's in there, card comes out. So the whole setup, they skip the setup that the movie gives that I think was very, very beneficial for the viewer of one entire near murder being stopped.
Crime.
That's not in the book at all.
Yeah.
It's literally just him in there. We're given no context, just a loose description of what they do. And he gets a card that says he's going to kill Leo Leo Kaplan. And he's like, I don't even know who that is. Of course, I'm not going to murder them. But the army also has their copies of it. So he snags it before anyone can see it, but he knows they're going to have a copy as well.
Yeah.
Runs away, gets abducted like 7 times. The dude is pinballed around in the book. Kaplan himself abducts him, supposedly for his safety. This is the head of the army who, in this, dystopian future post-apocalyptic world, there's sort of a loose allusion to some grand battle that took place. What was your interpretation of that, Brett?
It was like a civil war, and honestly, the whole like little in-story universe is on the brink of civil war. Like it would take nothing, just a drop of a hat. There's just like two factions that are at each other's throats.
Interesting.
And it's like
okay.
Like the police versus like the military or something like that.
Whoa. Wow.
Yep. And the military's like lost their power in this scenario, and the police have all this control, because they're running this pre-crime unit, and there hasn't been a murder in like 6 or 7 years or something. And then so it turns out this is the person that he's supposedly going to murder. He thinks his wife is in on this, like it's a setup. Some other dude wants his job. And they kind of roll the characters together because the guy who formed pre-crime in the movie is Kaplan, correct?
Formed pre-crime?
Right, the old guy?
Yeah, is that Kaplan? I guess it is.
I think so. Or that's as close as we have. That character doesn't exist in the book. They've kind of rolled them together here.
Okay.
And so Anderton, played by Tom Cruise, is both the head of pre-crime and this kind of neurotic, kind of paranoid creator of pre-crime,
Yeah. Okay,
all
got
as
it.
one character.
Got it.
So he thinks someone's gunning for his job. He suspects his wife is in on it. He thinks this is all fake. And then he realizes it's this giant coup that the army has cooked up to take control back from pre-crime. Because if he kills the general, obviously he's murdered somebody for the first time in 7 years, and pre-crime was wrong. But if he doesn't kill him, then that means it is revealed that we have been unjustifiably incarcerating all these individuals, and
Yep.
pre-crime is flawed.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And this idea of the Minority Report that is just so brilliant. So you can't beat this. Is that there are 3 of these precogs that are simultaneously getting these glimpses of the future, and then those are sort of collated and collected to determine what will happen. And even Anderton, as the creator and figurehead of this group, didn't know until this takes place that there are frequently minority reports
Mm-hmm.
where 2 of the 3 see certain action taking place and one does not, and
Right.
that one is discarded. And again, the movie treats it differently. In the book, it's actually really brilliantly explained. The first one sees him killing Kaplan. Because he's the head of pre-crime and sees the card, he decides, I'm not going to do that. So the second one sees him changing his mind and not doing it. And then because the second one saw that, the
Oh.
third one sees him finding out that he wasn't supposed to do that, finding out about the coup, and then actually doing it, which of course he does in the book. He just shoots him in the head and walks away.
Yeah.
And no one could say shit about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody walks around armed because there hasn't been murder in 7 years. And a little bit unsatisfactory in that that's where the book ends.
Okay.
He just pops him and wanders off.
Okay. That makes sense based on something I've read that we'll get to later.
Yeah. Well, that's that. Again, there's a lot to discuss there, but that's truly. I mean, Brett, if there are main points that you feel are important that I left out?
No, I think you nailed the plot down pretty well. But one thing worth mentioning is his paranoia, and he blames or is suspicious of every single person in that book, whether it's his wife he's been married to or his closest friend or whatever. He thinks everybody wants something from him.
Wow.
And so even that, there's like a mental health part to it where like he's, all of this aside, like he's not well
Yeah.
throughout this entire
Yep.
thing. Like you could see him going off the rails and being violent at any moment,
Wow.
but there's this component of free will too. Like, does free will
Right.
actually exist? And
Yeah.
it's just so genius.
No.
It
Back
really
off there.
is.
Back off there.
Oh. Too far. We went too far.
Too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife helps him escape, and then pulls a gun on him and says, "No, actually, I'm not sure I trust you. We have to go back in, and we'll find out if you're innocent or not." And then a different dude breaks in to try to stop him and starts strangling her. And even though she has initially helped him escape because she pulled the gun, he talks about, I let him continue strangling her maybe a moment too long before knocking this guy out. And you're like, all right, buddy, you gotta sort something. Like I'm a little hard pressed to suggest we have a protagonist in this entire story.
Everybody sucks here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I was always taught that a protagonist is the main character regardless of whether they're good or bad, is what my understanding
Okay.
of the character is. But I know
Okay.
based on some things that you've said on this podcast, you've said that before about a handful of other books where you're like barely a protagonist. So I don't know.
Well,
I
maybe
could be
because it's
wrong.
not maybe the I feel like it's a loss of language. You know, the only alternative I have is anti-hero, and that's certainly not the case, but
Right.
you're not really rooting for him necessarily.
Right. Right. You don't know whether you can trust him. I mean, if the book is set up the same way as the movie.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because it's very much from his perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Interesting.
it's almost like a sitcom where you're just like watching things unfold. You're just like, okay, what's going to happen? And it's so short, you don't have enough time to really connect with the characters super well. So you're like, is he going to shoot her or shoot him? Is he not going to? I don't know. Let's find
Yep.
out. I don't really
Yeah.
care. I do
Right.
care because the writing makes me care, but it's kind of inconsequential. There is no hero to this story, and there doesn't actually have
Sure.
to be. I don't
Right.
think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing is
But that's
damned
all
if
I
you
want to
do,
say about
damned
the
if you
book.
don't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's all you got for the book?
Yes, because I want
Wow.
to come back to a couple of those after we hear about the movie.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to try and fly through my movie bit here, but same goes for both of you here. If anything pops up, feel free to jump in, especially Chris, because you've seen it a lot more times than I have.
So many times.
The movie was released in 2002, directed by Steven Spielberg, who, like I said, he's got a movie in theaters now, Disclosure Day, which is a really interesting comp for this movie, I think, because it's that movie is about the disclosure, I guess, that aliens are real and that we've known that for generations. And so it's got the same sort of like your government is playing games with you that you don't realize your government is playing vibe going on, and some cool through lines too. Like you mentioned, the technology in this movie, in Minority Report, Steven Spielberg worked very hard to sort of develop that visually and make it something that's interesting and compelling, I guess. And that's very much what he does in Disclosure Day as well. So getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but if you like this movie, I really think you might like Disclosure Day. Anyway, written by Scott Frank and John Cohen, starring Tom Cruise as John Anderton, Colin Farrell, Samantha Morton, and Max von Sydow. And it was actually, when it was originally optioned, when the rights were purchased to turn it into a movie, it was going to be written as a sequel to Total Recall. But that fell through. That development of that project fell through, and it was rewritten as a standalone project. And eventually, it went through a lot of versions of the script, which we've talked about a handful of times on the podcast. Sometimes they can just get spun up, and sometimes like somebody's idea makes it all the way through, and sometimes there's like no trace of somebody worked on a version of the script. So kind of interesting that it came out well at all, because oftentimes you can have like too many cooks in the kitchen on this kind of thing. Spielberg and Cruise signing on to this made it a huge deal. Like I said earlier, he's the biggest movie star that ever lived. Spielberg, quite possibly the biggest director that ever lived. At the very least, they're both household names to people that are not mega movie fans like me, you know? And in order to make this movie happen, they both took really big pay cuts in exchange for a percentage of the box office gross off the top once the movie was done, so that they could keep the budget lower on the movie and again make it something that studios were interested in doing, because sci-fi epics like this are really expensive and really hard to make successful. But get a big director, get a big star, and if you get them for cheap, you can usually pull it off. I thought it was really cool. Back to the technology, Spielberg wanted everything to be super plausible, so he actually hired a group of subject matter experts, I guess. There were architects, technology journalists, computer scientists, all kinds of people that came together for this big think tank summit and talked about what would actually be realistic in the year. Is it 2050 when this takes place?
I don't remember them ever specifying that. Hold on, let me check.
Maybe that was just a
It just
target
says
date.
near future. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just really interesting to me that all of this technology is kind of plausible. For example, instead of getting an index card printed out, the pre-memories, what do you call them? The visions, I guess, kind of are uploaded into these like giant marbles, and the marbles have the like holographic
Yeah.
projections. It's really cool stuff. I mean, if I had seen this movie when I was, like 13, it would have been the coolest thing I'd ever. And for many people, probably including Chris, it was the coolest thing we'd ever seen, right?
Still is.
Yeah, still is. And the good news is, Chris, it might be plausible because of all of these people that Spielberg looped in to make sure. He's like, I've got this idea, but I need to make it feel like it could exist in the real world someday, because that was very much his goal, was to take this crazy story that feels impossible because we're talking about people with like godlike abilities, and putting it in the real world. So really cool, just really cool, like MO, I guess, that he had, that thoughtfulness in putting that film together. That's why he's Steven Spielberg. First film to use pre-visualization for the entire pre-production, which is basically generating digital images of what's going to be on the camera so that they can block a scene and not be doing it all with pen and paper. And that is now industry standard. Most films, at least from major studios, do that pre-visualization, and it's called previs, as a sort of nod to this film. Yeah, which is also about having visions before anything actually takes place. So kind of a cool, flagpole moment in movie history there. Like I said, big changes. I wanted to read this one quote from Spielberg and just see what your guys' reaction was. He said, the Philip K. Dick story only gives you a springboard that doesn't really have a second or third act. Most of the movie is not the Philip K. Dick story, to the chagrin of Philip K. Dick fans, I'm sure.
Hmm.
You're shaking your head,
Interesting.
Brett.
I'm shaking my head because so much of Philip K. Dick's writing is just like thought provocative. Like that is such an insanely cool concept. But this book was 200 pages long, you
Yeah.
know. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of them, Chris said that this book ends just like that. A lot of them are like that. And you're like, I want an explanation. I want more. I want to know why that happened. Is that person real? Did that really happen? Is this reality? And
Yeah.
you don't get those answers. Philip K. Dick does not give you those answers. And
Yeah.
and I'm not disappointed in any adaptation that goes any direction with it, because I think that's just like so much of it is up to your interpretation as the reader. And
Okay.
almost too much. Almost too much.
Okay. I'm
I would
glad to
agree.
hear you say that. I want to hear, before I explain why, I want to hear what you say, Chris. How you
Yeah,
feel
no,
about
I
that.
I agree with him. I
Okay.
I I would view it as like you cannot help but get to the end of that and immediately wonder, at the very least, where is Anderton going next? What is the next 24 hours going to look like? And what Spielberg gave us was a plausible option.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you made a full studio box office movie that stayed true to the book, you would have people up in arms with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah. Well, interesting you say that. The reception to this movie was mostly positive. Some people felt that Spielberg hadn't adequately addressed the questions that he posed in the movie, which of course are questions that also Philip K. Dick posed, and sounds to me like he had no real interest in answering. Questions about free will and does it exist, and like what are the ethics of pre-crime and precognitive?
Mm,
Am I getting too far ahead, Chris, or am I
no, you're
okay?
hitting the nail
Yeah,
way on its head.
I just think it's really interesting that was a criticism of the movie. It's making me think it must have been totally intentional, and that Spielberg might even be smarter than we even give him credit for. Because what's also interesting about this, having this discussion this week, Disclosure Day is having the same exact criticisms. People are like, you
Interesting.
pose this huge question: what happens when the existence of aliens is disclosed, and then there's no answers? That's where the movie ends. Sorry, spoiler alert, but we don't see the day after Disclosure Day. We just see
Uh-huh.
Disclosure Day, right? So a lot of people are having that same conversation now about like, why does he pose all of these questions and then not answer them? Which I think, is an interesting question artistically, but it also sometimes happens, especially now in the age of social media, when people can like turn these ideas over in their head over and over again and then shout them out into the void. It just like a movie sometimes crosses this threshold of like virality where you just can't please anybody. You know what I mean? Too many people can kind of
Mhm.
get their hands on it. But
Can I give
just,
you the prime example to me of like the logical conclusion to that argument though?
yeah, please.
Did you both see Cloverfield?
I've not.
Super intense, super on a knife's edge for 95% of it. It's like this alien invasion, everyone trying to get out. And the scary part is they never reveal the aliens. I would argue
Oh,
Twister was honestly pretty similar.
I've heard
And
that.
then once
Yeah.
they do, it's just
Yeah. In
right,
fact,
like it deflates.
yes, War of the Worlds for me was the same way. I just
Yep.
did a big Steven Spielberg marathon before Disclosure Day, and I loved War of the Worlds. I mean, I loved it until I saw them, and I was like, "Whoa, I got to take like a whole star off of this movie because they're kind of stupid." Like, first of all, they bungled the design, and then secondly, the like mystery's gone. That whole element that was like a what's it called, like a weighted blanket almost on top of you is
Mhm.
gone. So interesting that these movies are having the same conversations, especially because they
Yeah.
come from the same director, and he's so open about what all of these films mean to him. So many people, including myself, are really invested in like the Steven Spielberg project, right? So all of his movies are about like broken families because he comes from a divorced home, and they're often about withholding information because his parents were sort of withholding in some of the ways that they raised him. So if you sort of take apart Disclosure Day and Minority Report to see they say about Steven Spielberg, I think you end up with the same thesis. And I don't have that thesis like in words, to be totally honest with you, because art is so much more than that. But I think they're two movies that are very much in conversation with each other. Super interesting.
Mm.
That's pretty much all I've got for the movie, though. It was a big hit at the box office, mostly overlooked for awards, but has really undergone this reclamation in the last 10 years or so. A lot of discussion about it right now because a new Spielberg movie in theaters is such a big deal. So a lot of people watching it and talking about it, and just really cool to see it kind of unfolding the same way his current movie is unfolding. But let's with that, let's dive into our discussion questions. Brett, did you have any come up? Did you bring any? Did have any been nipping at you?
Questions about the book itself
The book,
or
the
the.
story, yeah, anything.
Let me marinate on that and let's
Okay.
hear what you guys have prepared. Yeah.
All right, Chris, hit us with something.
Perfect. Thank you. Yep, I've been trying not to say something. Okay. One, because I was holding you guys back from it, and two, that discussion of the movies goes into it. So the huge question of free will. One, because it's a massive question in there that obviously we're not going to answer, but I think this is the first time in something we've discussed where the book really does service to the question the author intended. I think magnitude's better than the movie, at least in terms of fully fleshing out the explanation.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what order to discuss these in. Well, okay, you've both seen the movie. I guess my initial question, what I really wanted to ask you both, is that what you took away as the primary question from the movie? This idea of his free will and how it altered the Minority Report production in comparison to all of these people that they've already arrested for their pre-crimes?
Yes, I think it's one of the major themes. And if I had to choose one, sort of as the bullseye, I suppose that's what I would choose. But because the movie is more of a crime thriller, and he spends so much time sort of running and avoiding being caught, right? That it has some other. I think that can get diluted a little bit in the fact that this is like an early 2000s action movie as well,
Uh-huh.
right? But yes, I think that's the ultimate takeaway.
People see Tom Cruise and they
Yeah.
want spies and guns and
Mission Impossible. Yep.
yeah. I guess my takeaway from the book was based on the main character's personality and the situation that was unfolding. He literally had no choice. He
Oh,
did not have any choice. Like that had to happen. It had to. Otherwise, what would have unfolded if he didn't do that? The thing that he
uh-huh.
devoted his
Uh-huh.
entire life to would have gone up in flames. He would have lost all power anyway, probably would have gone to prison because he sent a bunch of people to prison for something that
Mhm.
may or may not be flawed, right? The system
Also
Yep.
of like
never answered.
never answered. My personal opinion is it is flawed, and he was trying to protect this. And but he had no choice. He had to kill. He had to kill this. He had to commit this crime. And the robot, or not the robots, the precogs were right. They were right. And so even though he was like, I have a choice, I'm not going to. It's easy not to kill somebody. You just don't do it.
Right.
But it wasn't up to him in the end. He had to do it.
See, and okay, yes, that's exactly what I took away from the book. I need to adamantly disagree with you, Nate. And as it often comes up here for us, I could just be extraordinarily dense.
Stop saying that. That's
But
not the case.
this was not my takeaway from the movie because I feel like so much of the movie's plot refocuses on the precog having been taken away from her mom and her mom murdered to cover it up.
Oh, right.
And so
Okay.
the idea for me from the movie, each time I had seen it until I read the book, was Anderton in the movie now is distinct of no. Kaplan and Anderton are shifted positions in the movie, and he is not this general committing a coup for power. He was the creator of pre-crime
Yeah.
and the mentor of Anderton.
Right.
And it comes to light that he killed one of the precog's moms in order to take her into the program for her power.
Yeah.
And the question to me that I had always taken away from the movie was, is this injustice justified for the greater good, quote
Oh,
unquote?
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, that there's several major themes, major questions posed. And I think that's another huge one. That's interesting that that was sort of your number one takeaway though from the movie. Because you
I did not take away the free will question at all from the movie. That
really?
was not my read on it. Yeah.
I mean, it's
And I
still
suppose
the climax is still Anderton trying to decide whether or not to kill. I mean, not even trying to decide whether or not to kill the guy that he's supposedly going to kill, but it's sort of like him realizing that he's in the situation he thought he would not ever be in.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes.
So I still feel like the free will and or the illusion of free will are sort of the bigger questions more so. I guess the precog kidnapping thing to me felt a little bit more like none of us know what we're supporting. So it's still that illusion of free will.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yes. Again, the surveillance, the that whole setup in the movie of he kills this guy for being a pedo and it's just a scapegoat.
Yes, exactly.
But the book, I think, so vividly because he specifically stops and they break down the different precogs premonitions of the first one saw me doing it. The second one saw me finding out I would and then not doing it. And that's why he argues, not flimsily, but I was certainly not convinced from the text. Again, the text is very much a non-omniscient narrator. We're getting his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only person this could have happened to because I had access to the card. And I'm thoroughly unconvinced. I feel like Dick was trying to imply in the text, this is him justifying it to himself. We are very much not led to a logical conclusion that, yes, he had to do this to defend pre-crime, the true and correct system. Like, there is every realm in which this
Yeah.
army coup is, in fact, taking down a deplorable and flawed system. I mean, the U.S. justice system, for all of its own flaws, is built on the tenet of innocent until proven guilty, and this flips it on its head and says, "Oh no,
Yeah.
we got you, buddy."
Yeah.
I don't. It raises more questions than answers, but in a delightful way. And I was just so
Yeah.
fascinated.
It's not a world you would want
I
to
don't know.
live in.
No.
Oh, absolutely
God, no.
not.
You know, and
on
I
its
could
surface,
totally
it should
see
be.
I could totally see in the real world how this is pitched. Like, stop the crime before it happens. Like, do you want to
Right.
wait for
Oh, yeah.
somebody to get murdered or for you to get robbed in order for
Uh-huh.
that person to be put away? No, this person is going to do this, so let's put them in a work camp, which is, I
Yeah.
believe, where they put them in the book. But I mean, God, you can really dissect this in a million different ways. Like there's a whole thing about like biases and racism and maybe there's even a statement of, well, our criminal system already kind of does that a little bit, just based on where
Mhm.
you live, what you look like, what you believe
Yep.
in.
Yep, statistically
100%.
correct.
Oh, this was written when, in the 50s? I mean, my God,
Uh-huh.
talk about ahead
Yeah.
of his time.
No kidding.
Well,
No
and
kidding.
doesn't it, on its surface, it sounds not just plausible, but effective, right? It operates on
Yeah.
the idea of, oh, open your bag, show me your phone. If you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't complain. You know, this
Right.
idea.
It's very
Do you,
Machiavellian.
well, I think it's more subversive than that. It's very altruistic on a surface level and very big brother globally.
Oh,
There are
yeah.
three of us here. Okay, so impromptu survey. Raise your hand if you think you will murder somebody in your lifetime.
Brett, let the record show Brett raised his hand and shrugged.
I mean, come on.
He did say he thinks about pre-crime daily.
That's true. He did say that. That's crazy.
It's
So
cool. It's
ideally,
interesting.
ostensibly, 0% of people should answer yes to that, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
As
yeah.
I intended for my survey to show.
We'll get rid of that in post.
Ravenously obnoxious. And so on the surface, cool. Hey guys, we're gonna even you cut out all of the other stuff. And you just say this is only gonna find murders.
Sure.
Okay. No one's gonna commit murders? Cool. Well, if you even think about it, we're gonna grab you before you do it. I, at least right now in my life, would comfortably say, I mean, I'm not advocating for this by any means, but again, we're talking about a theoretical society here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to kill anyone. Sure, sign me up. And if I'm genuinely going to kill someone, yeah, come and get me. And then the second they go and get somebody, well, he didn't do anything.
Right.
How do we know?
Yeah.
You know, it's, oh, what a slice he has found here.
Yeah.
I know.
Target your
Yeah.
enemies, you know, and
Right.
there's an interesting checks and balances system that he's built into it, which is kind of what makes this whole thing like oh, this is an anomaly. This could only happen to this one person, But I
Mhm.
think part of the thing that gets thrown into question is like, this is a really flawed system. Are you sure this is the only time that this could happen? Are you sure that this is
Yes.
such an infallible system? Because you've got a bunch of giant brained mutants that are just kind of crapping out names and future potential crimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And that's
not a
it.
very
And
good
the
leg to stand on.
and the guy who invented it didn't even know about the Minority Report that theoretically has existed for everyone he's put away.
Right. That's a huge part of the movie is him learning that there
Yes.
is such thing as a minority report. And that's sort of what sets him on this journey. He sets out to deter or to prove that the report that they got of him is a minority report, and that quickly
Yeah,
turns into so many other things. But
plausible
Yep.
deniability
yeah,
is what you're going for,
Yep.
but
yep,
it doesn't matter. Like there is no like reasonable doubt here. It's you're going to do this.
yeah, pretty black
Yep.
and white.
We're, we're shipping you off. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Brutally so.
So pretty much every time that we talk about a mystery story on this podcast, Chris and I have the same discussion, which is, do you or do you not try and solve the mystery along with our protagonist? Like, what are you, is that the right way to watch it? Is that how you like to watch it? Whatever. I've found myself completely unable because of all of these layers and how much time they spend like tangling you up in these massive concepts like, do we have free will and what are the ethics of
Yeah.
interfering with that? I was completely unable to even try and guess at what was going to go on, even in the next scene. I wanted to know if you guys felt the same way when you're reading it. If you're constant, I mean, it felt like I was just getting beat up because I was like, let me catch my breath for a minute. And I'm curious if the book is the same way.
I'm a sucker for a red herring. I just fall straight into it every time. I want to believe that his wife is setting him up. I want to
Yeah.
believe that there's a huge conspiracy, and I, yeah, I just kind of let the story unfold.
Yeah.
But you just the book you don't end up really having an answer to that anyway.
Sure. Okay. Because there's just less material. Okay. Interesting.
I feel like they answer all of his suspicions, which is that God, what is it? It's like Withright or something. Colin Farrell's character.
Oh, the
Uh
inspector or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Who, oh my gosh, talk about perfect casting.
Yeah,
Like
that was really good.
Colin Farrell, Ed Whitwer. Colin
Mm.
Farrell was the guy for that character. To answer your question, Nate, what I think the book actually less so in my opinion, because I agree with Brett. You can't really guess an answer that's never given to you. But the movie, I would label this movie firmly under psycho thrillers to me, because they really build up more of a turn than there was in the book. I think it's kind of nonstop in the book. The movie kind
Okay.
of creeps up to it better.
Sure.
And the brilliance in this one to me, unlike Sixth Sense or Shutter Island or Inception, where you can only truly live that experience the first time you see it.
Yeah.
Every time I watch Minority Report, it's still mind blowing.
Wow, that's a really good point, actually. There's just so much to turn over, in your head,
Yes,
and there's no
yes,
answers.
because you're trying to you're questioning it to yourself. Where I hope none of us are watching Inception and then sitting back in the theater going, "Am I dreaming right now? Have I just not woken up?" I hope none of us are watching Sixth Sense and going, "Is that guy I talked to earlier dead?"
Dead.
Shutter Island, that one still gets me sometimes. Like, what
Yeah.
if this is all a delusion I'm making up and I'm in a mental institution in upstate Vermont and I'm going to come to and I'm this 65-year-old man with dementia? That one messes with me sometimes.
That's funny. I'd tell
But
you.
you know
Brett
what
and
I
I would
mean? You
tell
can
you if
only
that was the case.
I don't
Unless
know if I
I'm
would.
making both of you up. Yeah, what if Nate Day and Brett Shand don't exist? Those are creations of my brain.
Just saying.
Oh
If it
man,
was if
you
it was true to character, I'd be blabbing. You know that's true.
That's a good
you've
point.
kind
Yeah,
of
that's a good point. Okay.
you've kind of unearthed why I love Philip Dick so much, and like you just genuinely don't know what's real or what to take at face value. You don't, and this is true for so much of his stuff. Blade Runner, the movie is based
Yeah.
on "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" and till the very last sentence, you're like, you think one thing, you think that this is the situation, you accept it, but then it just completely turns itself
Hmm.
over, and you're like, oh my god, what was real? Or Man in the High Castle, they have this I Ching that it spits out like prophecies. People use it like AI almost, where they ask it a question and it tells them what to do, and it tells them fortunes, and then at the very end you're like, this is a multiple reality situation thing. Like, what is real? What's happening? It's like, it begs itself to be reread. It begs itself to be rewatched, and it's
Mhm.
rewarding every single time because you have more
Mhm.
information and it's
Yep.
a different experience.
Interesting.
100%.
I
I mean,
wonder.
let me give you this is a silly, but I think still germane example. This idea of perception is reality, right?
Yeah.
Because Brett and I are both teachers. I'm sure you also get students turning in the most ridiculous answers that are clearly AI, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a PhD? Okay, didn't know that.
Well, buddy, this is very
Congrats,
interesting.
Doogie Howser.
So remember, Nate, I know
Indeed.
I told you about this the day it happened. I assigned a Black History Month biography, and a student very confidently told me he wanted to do Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he showed me
Oh,
the Google AI search where he put in the prompt, and the prompt, I mean, I don't know how those algorithms operate, but it somehow weighted the second half of his question. It was about prominent black figures during World War II,
Yeah.
and it like zeroed in on prominent figures during World War II somehow.
Right.
But in that moment, for that student, not knowing different, that individual was
He
a
was black.
prominent representative of Black history during World War II, right?
My God.
Obviously, we know it to be incorrect, but
Yeah.
what don't we? What don't we? I don't.
Yeah.
What a
No. It's
question.
yeah. I know. I think it's kind of cool that yeah, that there is no answer and we can't know the answer, right?
Cannot. Cannot.
This was a hard one to come up with discussion questions for me anyway, because I think it sort of begs you to ask that question, sit on a call with two of your friends and say, what's ethical? What's real? What's human?
Hmm.
But you can't answer any of those, you know?
No.
you and I, like, we all know Eisenhower was white,
Mhm.
and it's like, to Chris's point, like, you don't know what you don't know, and then AI is spitting out things that, like, it's showing you videos, it's showing you photos, it's showing you very convincing things that are trying to make you think a certain way about something.
Yeah.
And this kid was obviously mistaken, and whatever. But when we just see like some video about something that's going on, it like, you question reality. You're like,
Yes. Yep.
did the president really just say that? Is that really happening? Like, you know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
like, I genuinely don't know sometimes. I have to look, or like a really cool play on like, I'm a big Timberwolves fan, like a really cool like dunk or something, and then people are like, this is actually AI, that never happened. I'm like, I was so hyped up about that play, that
Yeah.
basket or whatever, and you're telling me it's not real? Like,
Yeah.
I could live my whole life just thinking that something happened when it actually didn't, and I think that's getting much more complex right now as things are becoming
Mm.
more convincingly fake.
Yeah.
Now,
totally
can I
agree.
posit this is with AI, it's obviously a very hot button right now,
Yeah.
but it's not like this has not existed historically. Like when we
Mhm.
were growing up pre-internet, when I went to write a paper in 6th grade, I would go home
Oh,
and my
sure.
mom, the set of Encyclopedia Britannica that she was super proud of having, she'd made me plop out the relevant volumes and go do my research. But it's not like written research is not updated, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You go to reference in any modern scientific field, you go to reference a paper that was published even 30 years ago, you're pushing the edges of acceptable knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm not here to defend AI. I'm just suggesting that's not the only thing we can point our fingers at.
No,
AI also dog shit, but
Yeah.
and this movie and this book were well before AI was a thing.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
it's
Mid
existed in
right
some
in
form, and AI has just magnified it. You know.
I mean, this would have been the peak of McCarthyism and the Red Scare, so I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
they were asking what to them were just as pressing and difficult topics, yeah, with no internet at all.
Right.
I don't. I think Philip K. Dick posed a lot of these questions, and he was a really good thinker and a really creative person. I wonder if he could have foreseen like like this kind of thing happening. You know, I
I
wonder
mean,
if he
Mhm.
could have foreseen, can human beings, like, can normal people not tell what's real and what's fake anymore? Like, will that ever
yeah.
actually happen? Because I don't know. I think he's kind of out of a job right now. If he
Right.
starts publishing today, they're like, okay, this is whatever. That's every day for me.
Flop. Yeah.
Just
Like,
real.
I
Yeah.
can turn on Instagram and get the same experience,
Right.
the same existential crisis.
Well, I mean, think about what it was like to live in the 50s, though. You know, we had
Yeah,
a lot of revelations that things were not as we thought they were. You know, kind of that like earth-shattering thing that we were just talking about. So I'm sure, to some degree, you know, I don't think that he was like a prophet or anything, but I think he probably was able to look around and say like that's that way for a reason. You know, like
yeah,
Mm-mm.
the Knicks winning the NBA championship recently. That's great. Super excited. I fully believe that at some point over the last year, the NBA sprinkled in some kind of favor for that because they knew that it would create the fervor that it did for the last few weeks. And I'm not saying that they gamed any of the games or anything. I'm just saying that maybe they worked one or two things out, right? Like programmed the season so that it was slightly favorable to the Knicks because do you know how much money they made? And then guess what? The Knicks didn't win in 3. They they extended the playoffs by a couple of weeks so people could spend more money. Just an example. I'm not trying to say that the NBA is out to kill us or anything, but
No, I cannot believe you brought this up because I've been thinking about it a lot in the
really.
last week and a half.
Okay.
And two parts in particular. One, a gentleman, because we went down to a bar on Fifth to watch the game Saturday night for the championship,
Yeah.
as everybody did. I mean, it
Right.
was insane. We tried to go home and we had to go down to the street because it was so loud. We had to go see what was going on. People were stopping the city buses and giving them Knicks flags to drive around
oh,
with.
that's
I mean,
awesome.
there were 300 people in the street and we're in a tiny sleepy neighborhood, and just everybody just came out and was like, yeah, we whatever. The fact is, even within our nation, the only place the NBA exists, the our NBA, not pro basketball, it is factually better for each of us, me living here, Brett living in Minnesota, Nate living in Denver, because of how big New York is and its impact on the nation. The
Mhm.
economic stimulus of that team winning will, in fact, in ways, improve the entire nation more than, you know, the Utah Jazz or
Right.
something, right?
Yes.
And that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
absurd. That's so dumb. This is just a stupid sport. This was the first basketball game I've watched in 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The bar owner where we ended up going, legitimately, he was talking to me and he was like, if they win it tonight in 5, they're morons. look at all the money they're leaving on the table. 2 more nights at the Garden. And I'm like, are you suggesting they should throw tonight's game in order to maybe win it on Tuesday here in New York? He's like, yeah. You know how much money I'd make if they came back for another night?
It's true.
And I was like, wow. Yeah. No, because I've been having that same thought, and I felt like a conspiracy theorist for even thinking it.
I know. I had this discussion with my family recently, and my dad's a pretty big sports guy, and he was sort of like, whoa, I'd never thought of that. But I think we were talking about it around the Super Bowl because we were like, why are the freaking Chiefs in it again? That's so boring. And I was like, why do you think they're in it? Because it's the Taylor Swift effect. It's the most popular team in the NFL because of a pop star. You know what I mean?
Well,
There's
I mean,
a
Carl
lot
Anthony Towns was on the Timberwolves and they did not win. Goes to the Knicks
No, they
and they
did not.
win.
There's a lot of conspiracy in the NBA realm of is it rigged? And
Right.
there is actually quite a bit of evidence to support that it might be. There was
Mhm.
one ref who was caught, rigging some of the games,
Wow.
and for because he was betting on them, and I I don't know. You're gonna tell me it's just one guy?
Yeah.
Just one
See,
guy?
exactly. Well, and all
There's
it takes is
there's
one
a ref
guy,
whose
you know?
nickname is there's a ref whose nickname is the extender because he extends, just as Chris was alluding to, he extends the yeah.
Interesting.
We all make more money.
It's game 5. All right, well let's go to game 7 here.
Right.
Yeah.
Phil Dick
But I
would
don't
be
know.
interested, I think. I think he would. That's what I mean, though. I think in the 50s, he probably was pointing at like, I don't know what advertising looked like in the 50s, but you pointed a poster on the wall and you're like, wait a minute, it's tricking me. Or I've always told Chris, I won't wear a shirt that has like a Nike swoosh on it because I'm like, why the hell would I pay to advertise for you? And
To
we've been
give
tricked
them-
into
yep.
that kind of stuff.
Walking
know?
billboard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly what he's
Dude,
getting
he
at
would
here.
have written some crazy stuff in
Yeah.
the year of our Lord 2026.
Yeah, as scared as
Yeah.
I am by this one, I don't know if I want to read what he.
But
If
you know what?
real AI exists,
That brings us right back to free will. You grew up in a society where people wear the Nike swoosh. It's cool. It's a fashion statement. It's kind of a
Uh-huh.
status thing.
Yeah.
If you were an alien coming here to Earth, there's nothing inherently cool about the Nike swoosh.
No.
And if you
100%.
came to Earth for the first time, you're like, what does it matter? But me, I'm like, I want to go out and I want to get Nike because I've been conditioned to think that way by my environment,
Yeah.
not because of my own personal thinking. It's because my environment is what is driving me towards that. There is no
Yeah.
free will.
Mhm.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Cigarettes, on the other hand, objectively look cooler smoking
Yeah, I
a
don't know.
cigarette.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with marketing. I stand by this claim.
I feel like the cross section of free will and addiction is a totally different conversation.
That's a different podcast, Chris.
Yeah.
The literal, tangible opposite of free will, crippling physical addiction to nicotine. Okay, you may have a point.
Yeah.
Still
I
look
know, I
cool.
do.
Oh
Well,
my
let's
God,
talk.
that's funny.
Let's talk ratings. I think we might be on a little bit of a time crunch, right, Brett?
Oh yeah. Let's get Butsky out of here.
Out of
Are you familiar with this? Oh yeah, you explain it to him.
out of 5 stars, what do you give? And if you want to use a half star or go by the half star, that's fine. But out of 5, what would you rate the book and the movie, if you can recall the movie?
Can't recall the movie enough to give it a fair rating.
Okay.
The book, I'm gonna give it a solid 4
Okay.
because I would like to reread it, and I think there's room for it to shift one way or the other. But right now, just at face value, I'm giving it a 4 because it
Okay.
made me think, and I still remember it, and I just think it's so creative.
It is. Yeah. Truly original, you know?
And look at
Very
this
reasonable.
conversation we sparked from a
Right.
150-page little pamphlet. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're talking about
And this
the
is
NBA.
after you and I mean, Brett and I already discussed this with book club,
Yeah.
and there was enough here to have a fun discussion a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, then, what do you give it, Chris? I assume it must be a 5-er since you've read it. a couple of times.
Honestly, these are both fives for me, and it was interesting when I went back to relog it on Goodreads. It was only a 4 for me the first time,
Oh,
but I changed it to a 5 this time in full knowledge that I will return to it at least a third time. I got more out of it the second time, which is crazy for a book this short.
yeah,
I mean,
that is
that's
pretty wild.
remarkable.
But that just is a testament to his writing. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I gave the
And the movie,
movie.
obviously, for obvious reasons,
Oh yeah, you would give the movie 5 stars.
I'd give it 6 out of 5.
6 out of 5. Whoa. I gave the movie 3 out of 5, or 3.5 out of 5, 3.5, I guess.
Ooh.
I felt like it's a great movie, but like I said, it gets kind of convoluted and confusing. And if you're not giving it 100% of your attention, which I believe you should, but in today's world, I don't know that you can expect that.
Fair.
It's impossible to follow because of all of the. It's like a will he, won't he on steroids in some ways, and you need all of these small details. And then on top of that, they did some interesting stuff visually that to convey how like stark and bleak of a world this was. I don't know, Chris, if you really know what I'm talking about, but that movie is almost in grayscale. It's almost black and white.
Yeah.
Which I think works really well for this movie. It just, I think, unfortunately, it set Hollywood on a course to continue that and go deeper and deeper down that road. And now we have very bland, ugly movies. This is, I think, kind of one of the starting points of that. So, despite how much I love about it, there was it left me wanting a little bit in the end, even though I think it probably was more like, I think I would like the movie more than the book. If I were to read the book, I think I'd be more into what the movie was doing, but still a lot to love. Still like it quite a bit.
No, good points.
What about recommendations? What kind of people, who would you recommend this kind of thing to?
Anyone who is a sci-fi lover, anybody who wants to think about the world around them and what, like, question their perceptions.
Yeah.
I think that's who I would recommend this book to. Honestly, I would even say have teenagers read it. Give
Yeah.
them a little slice of rational thinking. Like, you have to question things. You have to question things.
Yeah.
The world
Totally
is
agree.
getting way more confusing. Like, you have to think about it.
Chris, where's your head at?
No, 100% agree with Brett. As I was thinking about it before the episode, I was like, first and foremost, any students in particular who were like, what's the deal with this sci-fi world? I think this is a very low barrier
Oh
of
yeah,
entry
sure.
to that realm. It's not particularly dated as compared to some sci-fi of that period. And yeah, I mean, the number of times weekly, if not daily, that a kid comes and tells me a story and I'm like, where'd you see that? TikTok? Oh, did you fact check it? No. Let's pull it up quick. Oh, 100% falsified. Like,
Yeah.
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 And I think there's also a brilliance to this writing that there are ways that you can approach. I mean, you could have 4 different 6-week ELA units on this book. One about what was okay to
Right.
write back then that we now know is not, or a different one about how do we approach storytelling and the non-omniscient character,
Yeah.
or just the question of free will, or I mean, it's magnificent. Again, for a book, I mean, the audiobook was maybe 4 hours long. Like, this is very accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without what's often bogging stuff down of like gore or profanity or sexual gratuities. Like,
Oh,
really,
sure.
really accessible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on a similar track as you guys. The biggest like net that I could cast is just sci-fi fans. I think as long as you can buy into these technologies and this world that doesn't exist, then I think you'll be really well fed by all of these ideas, because it is a story built for not so much the story itself, enjoying the story itself, but for, living with the ideas afterwards and turning them over in your head and talking about them on a podcast. So as long as you like
Popa?
sci-fi, I do think the really good comp is probably Blade Runner because it's the same sort of reality upending type of mind fuck, to put it plainly, right?
Yeah. Total Recall, man.
Yeah. Cool. Well, great discussion, you guys. Thank you so much for joining
I
us.
know. I'm
Brett.
like, oh, we're about to start an entire another discussion here. Tamp that down.
Let's go another hour. Come on. Honestly, we could.
So easily.
I know. We really could with a book like this one. But thank you so much for joining us, Brett. We've really enjoyed having
Thank
you.
you.
And please, next time we do a Philip Dick adaptation or anything along these lines, we'll be sure to have you back. And don't be afraid to let us know that you'd love to come on and chat about one. We'd love that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, Chris and I are going to take a look at Roots. I think it's our first time doing book to something that's not a movie. It's a television miniseries.
Correct.
So interesting discussions coming up, but thanks for joining us, and we look forward to our next discussion.
Say bye, Brett.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Happy reading and watching.
Yeah.